up to conclusion.
Thank you. And that does bring up the fact that 35,000 doctors in California have put out and asked for legalization of cannabis. The largest doctor group in the country has spoken out for legalizing cannabis. And these patients here are backing those doctors, and we're going to tell you again, what do we want? When do we want it? Now! What do we have to say to the feds?
Go home!
Go home feds! 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 Do you realize that once you take this away, you're going to hand the medical marijuana to the cartels? You're going to hand over all our problems right into the cartel hands. You're going to make them rich. They already are rich, but we now need to stand together. Bottom line is the city attorney in San Diego stood up, called in the feds, called in you guys to ask for help. That is a sign that the city and the state of California and all the counties that are restricting us have finally run out of ideas on how to stop us, and now they're calling in the feds. The state and the people have talked, we spoke, we said what we want, and we want safe access. We want to allow medical marijuana. 47,000 people stood up in San Diego and signed a referendum to stop the ban. When do we want it? Now! What do we want in San Diego? When do we want it? Now! One more time, I don't think they heard us. What do we want the feds to do? I couldn't hear you, or maybe they can't. Let the patients stand up for their rights. I'm going to bring up another speaker here. Her name is Catherine Clifton, another big pillar in our community. She is an attorney, a compassionate use attorney. Let's give her a minute and hear what she's got to say, and I'm sure she's got some interesting things for you at the federal building to hear.
Go home, feds! Respect state law! Stay out of our business!
Practicing elder and disability law. I protect people. For the most part, my job is to help guard them from harm and neglect, physical and financial abuse, from isolation, from improper medication, and from indifferent care. But now, out of necessity, I practice compassionate use law. And the question that is at issue here today is the city of San Diego ready to declare these citizens criminals? Apparently they are. This city is going to force ill people to make the choice between suffering the physical agonies of illness and engaging in criminal conduct, risking arrest and jail time to get their medicine. The refusal of the city of San Diego to abide by the Compassionate Use Act opens the door to civil litigation by legitimate, qualified compassionate use patients for the denial of their right to safely and legally obtain medically necessary palliative care. Some people bear this fight to legitimize compassionate use to the civil rights movement, but I believe it involves a stronger right of even more greater legal significance and stronger constitutional protections. I believe the Compassionate Use Act protects not a civil right, but a fundamental one. Fundamental rights are those with which each of us is born. In the context of a legal system such as the United States, the system itself is based upon these fundamental rights, without presumption, without cost of privilege. These rights belong to all human beings under U.S. jurisdiction. And the three fundamental rights that are at the heart of the compassionate use dispute are the right to pursue happiness, professional accomplishment, personal fulfillment, basic comforts, and human contentment, to which we may surely add the right to effective palliative medical care. The second right is the right to equal protection under the law. And the third right in the compassionate use dispute is the right to vote. legitimate, qualified patients a right of exemption to use medical marijuana. To paraphrase Supreme Court Justice Scalia, the Constitution says what it says, and it doesn't say what it does not say. Those powers not enumerated to the federal government are the exclusive reserved powers of the state, and health matters have always been the historic purview of the state. Further, the Compassionate Use Act is passed by the initiative process by the people of California. It cannot now be overturned, abridged, or disallowed by California's legislature. The Equal Protection Clause says that no state shall deny any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. It empowers the judiciary to enforce these principles against the states. The state is being unconstitutional in denying the First Amendment right to equality of life.
Get a real job!
And now, the city has called in the federal government to arrest compassionate users. And I understand why. It's an election year. The voting citizens of San Diego have shown through the referendum, which effectively removed the city's council ordinance, because it was less regulation and was a functional ban. But I understand the position of the city attorney and the city council. Their city's broke. They don't have enough money to take down all the dispensaries in the city, so they thought they'd go to the federal government to do a little economic house cleaning.
Hey, yo, fuck that!
The federal government is broke too! What do we want?
Save Texas!
When do we want it?
Now!
This intimidating campaign is because San Diego is broke and avoiding controversial decisions during an election year. This battle of terror is a battle of attrition, targeting landlords with federal form letters threatening forfeiture of assets. Practical realities dictate that there be some leeway in applying the statutory prohibitions pertaining to marijuana, where strict enforcement would defeat or destruct the purpose of Proposition 215. I'm before you today on behalf of clients, patients, family, and friends. Don't force sick people to become criminals just to get the medicine they need. Compassionate use is the state of the law in California, and the voters will make sure that it will stand. We want compassionate use. It's the law of California. We want our inalienable rights protected and not pissed on. We want compassionate use, and we want it now!
What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we have to say to the feds? What?
What about the taxes they collect? What about the unemployment that they're creating? Save our jobs!
A seminar that we want to pass on to everybody. And even with the feds hearing this, Sunday, October 23rd, from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. at Hancock Street, 3421 Hancock Street, there's going to be a raid survival training put on by the community and by several attorneys here in town to help people prepare for anything that the feds might do. And on that hand, what we want to tell you right now is, what do we want the feds to do? This class is a free class So you're welcome to come. All people out there can hear my voice. It will be posted on the California Cannabis Coalition.org's website. It will also be posted on the Patient Care Association of California.org website and the California Normal San Diego Normal site. Come to the rate training, learn what goes on. But at this moment, we have another message. And what is it that we want in San Diego right now? When do we want this? What do we want? When do we want it? What's our message to the feds? Time to follow what the people in California, the voters, have asked for. Our right, our fundamental right to be able to use the medicine of our choice. It's time that the federal government step aside and not interfere with the medicine of the patient's choice. What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? Let's make sure the feds know what we want.